So, Nate, have you seen that, as we predicted, which is good, that the hotel protests are indeed spreading? It seems to be that it is. They are cropping up more and more all over the place, and they're set to be even more going forward this coming week and this coming weekend. So, where it started at Epping, there are now at least half a dozen places, if not more. We had the great citizen journalist, young chap Jack Hadfield, on the Lotus Eaters earlier today. We're recording on Tuesday the 5th, and he did I thought a very interesting segment, because he's been in this up to the eyeballs, going all over the place. He was at Canary Wolf, which we're going to talk about in a moment, and he has been all over the place, as well as a number of others. There's a good 4 or 5 of these people, and they're doing great work, important work. Truly valuable thing they're doing, to physically go to these places and just talk to people and just film what's going on. That in and of itself is extremely valuable. If anyone's interested, I do suggest they follow Jack Hadfield. So yeah, I suppose one of the bigger ones, the more sort of prominent ones, where there's all sorts of footage and people talking about it at the moment, is in the middle of London, in Canary Wolf. And so in the middle of the night, under cover of darkness, they bust in a bunch of foreign invaders into this hotel in Canary Wolf. Now, I worked in Canary Wolf. Sorry?
I was going to say, look at all those women and children.
Yeah. Yeah. These are all highly skilled engineers and trained doctors. Every man jack of them. Yeah. Definitely not a single sex offender or anyone that intends in working in the dark economy. Definitely not one of them. Okay, so I worked in Canary Wolf for a number of years. I worked at a couple of different banks, essentially, in Canary Wolf, and it's a financial district. There's very little. There is some, but there's very little actual residents in Canary Wolf, Canada Water, and around there. On office days, in office hours, it's crammed with office workers, and there's lots of sort of sandwich shops and things like that. But of the evening, it completely empties out. Of a weekend, it's like a ghost town there. There are a few hotels, of course, as well, for visiting business people. So I feel like they obviously chose this because there's basically hardly any sort of local residents that are going to sort of immediately have a problem with this. But that didn't really work either, because people did turn up. And there are some residential areas not too far away from Canary Wolf. It is still in the centre of London, or East London. And so, I mean, just look at them. God.
It looks like they've been given outfits. Look. They've been given clothes, look. That's a uniform. Look, they're all wearing the same stuff, look. Oh, they're all wearing the same jumper. See?
Yeah. And why on earth? It's so telling that they did this at night. And I think we've seen evidence of this before in other places where they'll bust them in en masse at night. I mean, if that's not telling, right, that they know people don't like this, don't want this, it's against their will, it's to their detriment, it's making them less safe. Oh, but we're still going to do it. So we'll just do it when you're less likely to see it physically with your own eyeballs. How cynical. How disgusting.
Trying to dupe you, basically. Like, it's... Anyone trying to pull the wool over someone's eyes doesn't have good intentions, right? Like, they just don't, right? Like, nah. You're just absolutely absurd. It's so funny as well, because this got out super quickly, that their plan was to move. This is the Eping lot. These are the people from Eping. Their plan was to move the Eping barbarians to Canary Wharf. It got out really quickly, and then obviously someone was just sat there, just filming, just got it all on camera. They can't really keep a lid on it, which is again a sign of the times, because it goes to show that everyone pretty much working for them, or at least some people working for them aren't happy with it. And I do think to myself, maybe that's why they keep hiring individuals that are clearly not of this country. If you look at all of the security guards around these, these hotels, they're not white British. They're not white British. They're not. Like, I've watched a lot of these videos where auditors will come up, the so-called quote unquote auditors will come up, and they're just all random foreigners that can barely string a sentence together.
Yeah.
So I do wonder whether that's clearly on purpose, I think, actually, to maintain secrecy, or, because no one else will do it. Who knows? So it's this whole self-circulating economy, isn't it? Import foreigners, hire foreigners to protect the foreigners. So, right, okay, yeah, cool. This needs to stop.
And that detail in and of itself is extremely sinister. How many examples have we seen of normal people, someone like Active Patriot or whoever, just normal concerned native British people, trying to go into one of these hotels just to look around with their phone out, ask some questions, and yet it's a foreign security guard or a foreign bouncer, essentially, tells them that they can't come in and forces them out and gets aggro and up in their face. The security guy is a foreign dude, as you say, that can barely string a sentence together. How sinister is that? Just that detail alone.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What on earth? It's
proper,
really sickening.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's a proper circular economy, if you're thinking about it. It's the same self-contained thing. Not just that, who delivers the food to the hotels? Well, it's a random foreigner as well. And it's just this circulating thing. It's absolutely, it's vile. It's sinister and it's vile.
It's an orchestrated invasion. An organized and orchestrated, deliberate invasion. It's as simple as that. But the Canary Wolf thing is just one. There's another bunch of stuff went down at Barbican, which is also in London, a bit more West London, where Antifa turned up. Not just the anti-right. What are they called? Say no to racism, stand up to racism. But actual Antifa sort of masked people with black flags. They had a bit of a ruckus with the cops. But yeah, this is interesting. This is interesting. This is at Canary Wolf. I think this this is that Jack Hadfield I mentioned.
Yeah,
at Jack Hadders, where just normal women and girls did their march, and apparently it was just done. It was just organised very shortly before, just in like a WhatsApp group or something or other, or on Facebook even, where just some people said, what if we just went down there, just dressed in pink and just had a St. George's flag that said, save our kids, save our women. And a few hundred of them just did it. Brilliant, because the optics is extremely difficult for someone like Lisa Nandy, say, or Angela Rayner, or Sir Queer, or whoever. It's extremely difficult for them to spin the narrative that these are evil right wingers, that these are Nazis.
They're just the far right, mate, and they're pink. They're pink SS outfits.
And it literally says on some of those flags, just like save our kids, save our women. That they just don't want to be flooded by foreign sex criminals.
Perfectly reasonable.
Too much to ask, really. Sorry.
I do like. I like the fact that we were prophetic in our sort of proclamations that last. I mean, I said it. I said that last year. What happened last year was that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was the beginning. That was the pebble at the top of the mountain, and what we've seen now is the accumulation effect. Just that stone kept rolling, gathering more and more momentum as it went down. Bigger stone, and now we're in an avalanche territory. This isn't going to stop, and it's
hopefully not.
Well, yeah, it's just getting worse and well, I say worse, better for us. The individuals that are on this side of the aisle, this is better, but it's getting worse for the establishment, and it's not going to go away. This is not going away, and I do hope, and I say this, anyone who partakes in these, I really do hope that when the weather, because it always coincides with the weather, I seriously hope that when the weather starts to get cooler, that this stays and the heat stays on, and it just doesn't go away until next year. Because, and I'll say this, it's not so much the optics. The optics are really important, but for those that want this resolved in a democratic way, if the weather causes this to be paused, and then it only comes back next year when the weather is good again, it's going to be way worse. It's going to be way worse because that pressure cooker has been pushed back on for a little bit longer, and it'll be way worse next year. And that's just, that's not saying I want it to be like that. I'd like these things just to continue year round. I think taking pauses and coming back, that's when you sort of risk something spilling over, which you don't want to spill over if you want this resolved in a democratic way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If last summer was sort of breaking the seal on this thing, and Eping was sort of fully taking the seal off now, it's going to keep going. And apparently scheduled for later in this week and this coming weekend, there's quite a big number of different places up and down the country, all up and down the country, because this affects nearly everywhere in the country. They've pushed these migrants, these invaders, all over the country, and so people are reacting to it all over the country. I agree with you. I don't want it to turn violent, but this is the government's. It's among their last chances to address this and deal with it before it does. If they just try and keep the lid on the pressure cooker indefinitely, this will seem like a walk in the park. Well, it is a walk in the park. You see the cops, the few cops that are there, smiling and like doing that face, like like when you see someone with a little baby, you're like that sort of look. So this is the calm before the storm, or the calm before the potential storm. Absolutely. I saw an interesting, you might have seen it, it was doing the rounds on Twitter, an interesting cartoon where it was a bunch of these type of women in pink peacefully holding up their flags. Please save us. Please save our children. And underneath it's just like this giant North FC, like bald tattooed thug just hiding underneath the ground, just waiting to sort of burst up. And because that's all that's left.
Yeah,
that's all that's left. If they don't address it now, and it doesn't look like they're going to, right? Our government, Starmer and stuff, they're not addressing this.
They haven't said anything. No, that's what's actually truly remarkable about this is Sequoia has said zero. He's not said a single word about any of these protests. Not that I know of. Certainly nothing which has made a soundbite that's circulated. It wasn't like last year where he's, I will guarantee you will regret doing this. Just outrageous rhetoric. He has said nothing. And I do wonder, rather cynically, if he's trying to wait it out until the weather does turn, and he believes that these will die out. Because he's not said anything. He's not doing anything. They have done nothing. Or whether the powers that they've, the Online Safety Act and some various other bits and pieces, again, rather cynically, maybe that's them, I don't know, tracking people, tracing people. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. And then he'll just gather them all up in one go. And off to the gulags they get sent.
Possibly, yeah. The Stasi, the UK Stasi. Well, some blokes turned up to this just after, and they were all like wearing masks and stuff, black masks, and setting off flares, white and red flares, and chanting England and stuff. Little bit odd. Never really seen legit sort of nativist protesters doing that. Never really seen that before. But what the police did is they sort of tackled a few of them and sort of ripped their masks off so that they could see their faces. so that they could see what they were doing. I mean, I remember years ago when I was at uni, in the very, very early 2000s, I once went to, because I went to uni in London, one time during a May Day riot. It wasn't a riot, it was a May Day protest thing. Went down there purely out of curiosity to see what it was like, what was going on. And the cops kettled loads and loads of people. And the cops would just find a bit of high ground, even go in a building up to the first floor and just film everyone. Just make sure they've got everyone's face. So they've got it then. So that even when they do decide that you've done something wrong, whether you have or not is another question, but then they know who you are. They've got your face. So it may well be that. It may well be that idea that a special type of predator allows its enemies to come closer and closer, and yet still it stays still. It lets its enemies take little bites out of it, yet still it stays still until it's ready to pounce. It may be that, who knows? But I think you're right. I think we were right to begin with. This isn't going away. People realize that the seal is broken and that they can, in fact, turn up somewhere peacefully and have their voices heard. And it may even end up with their community being freed from the horror of having dozens or even hundreds of unknown, potentially sex criminals foisted on their small community. So once again, I suppose just watch this space. We'll see how it all plays out.